Hey all, Dr. Baruch Levy, also known as B from Soul Centered. I hope everybody watching had a meaningful and restorative weekend. I want to share with you a little bit about meaning coaching. I have been a logotherapist for many years, meaning centered psychotherapy, and still am, and work with clients individually as a psychotherapist, as a logotherapist, helping them to heal. Therapy means healing through meaning. However, I've really shifted over the past year or two into what I call logo coaching or meaning coaching. Now, meaning coaching is different because it is far more proactive, far more directive. And so I work with clients to help them find direction in their life at what I call life's T's: transitions, tests, trials, traumas, tragedies. Now, transition might be proactive. You might be transitioning by looking at empty nest or retirement or midlife, or you're in midlife, or professional transitions of all types, ranging to extremes of all kinds of tragic loss and everything in between. Excuse me. And so we work together in a coaching capacity around three core areas. I've really worked hard to nail it down to three areas. The first is meaning. Of course, my teacher mentor, Viktor Frankl, says, he who has a why can endure anyhow. And so our work starts with really sifting through, discovering your why, your meaning. There is always meaning at the center of our lives. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care when you're going through it, how big or small it might be. There is always meaning waiting to be discovered. I can't tell you what it is, but I can be in your corner to help you discover it, giving you tools and strategies, and most of all, support while you dive down into the soil of whatever you're going through, wherever you stand, and we discover the meaning. Now, that meaning is inspirational. That meaning is energizing. However, it isn't just enough to find the meaning, because to me, that's somewhat meaningless if we don't translate it into a purpose. What is a purpose? A purpose is taking our meaning, taking what we have discovered in that particular situation, at that particular juncture in our life, that thing that we know is our why. It's why we're here, and translate it into a how. What do I do with this? How do I do it? How do I live it in my personal life, in my marriage, with my kids, with my colleagues, professionally, all of it. You can't just have meaning and contain it in one little area of life. And so it takes work to translate that into all areas of our lives. And that's when I use the Enneagram. The Enneagram to me is a roadmap of how to translate our why into our how, and how to live that how out in the world. Excuse me. And that takes us to the third component of meaning coaching. So meaning, purpose, and last but not least, resilience. Now, resilience to me is the game changer, because you can find your meaning and have that inspiration, and you can translate it into your purpose and be living it. But you will come up against obstacles. Don't buy the garbage that if you're in your flow, if you're in your jam, then it's all just going to move forward smoothly. If it is, then you're not in your purpose, because our purposes have to be bigger than just go with the flow. Our purposes are going to be like the rivers here in Colorado that are full to the brim right now, and they are not for the faint of heart. You're going to come up against those tests, trials, traumas, tragedies that are going to challenge you. And when you do, you better have resilience training, resilience skills, and strategies. This is when I turn heavily to the work of Viktor Frankl, because Frankl proved this out, bore it out, and of all places, the Holocaust. He lived his meaning, translating it into a purpose, taking that purpose and moving through those traumas and tragedies and coming out the other side stronger. So our work together, really the ongoing work, is refining the meaning, harnessing it into the purpose, but then dealing with each and every T that comes along, and summonings, awakening what Viktor Frankl calls the defiant power of the spirit, to make our stand in that moment, or potentially to change course. Sometimes resilience means adapting, pivoting, moving in a different direction. Sometimes it means powering through. but my work is to be your coach, standing in your corner as your partner on this journey. Hopefully you have a spouse or a partner that you can turn to. I'm sure you have friends and confidants and colleagues, but we all need a professional whose job it is to hold that space for us, to hold that positive, unconditional regard, to be our witness on the journey. I've been working with my meaning coach for roughly 10 years, and I go to him weekly. And it's just every week I come out the other side feeling like I'm Rocky and he's Mick, and he's got my back. And that's what I do for my clients. And that's what I would love to talk to you about doing for you. Being in your corner, being your coach, being your guide, if you need, being your therapist, to discover meaning, to translate it into a purpose, and to live with resilience. If you want to learn more about the Defiant Spirit and my counseling, coaching, and consulting program, jump over to defiantspirit.org. And until the next time, live with meaning, live your purpose, and live that resilience. I'll talk to you then.